Hello. The peace of the Lord. I want to tell the brothers about the 3 times I was taken to heaven and hell. I want to say for the brothers that several people who were caught up, each one God wanted to show an area of hell. God wanted to show something specific, because in everything there is always a purpose. I want to tell my brothers that God showed me the situation of believers, those who had the opportunity to live the truth and walk in truth, but they wanted to live double life. My brothers, I start by reporting about the first time I was raptured, where God took me straight to hell. It was Monday in the church God is Love, and it was prayer campaign. I was in intense prayer and my concern was to be a giant in prayer. During fasting and praying, when I close my eyes, God took me to hell, a terrible thing, and the God showed me how it treated those who are violent towards their partner and those who hurt their spouse. And I saw the devil grabbing a brother from the leg and throwing him 15 meters high and judged him with great fury. He fell on the ground. He was like fighting those epic fights. God showed me the terrible situation, the horrors of hell. When the devil judged that brother with great fury, what happened was that his head and brain was crushed. Then he was reconstituting. Imagine watching a DVD, pausing the DVD and returning slowly backward, and that's what that scene was like, because that brain, that head that was smashed on the floor, everything starts retracting into the head and the person returning to the perfect condition after 3 seconds. There is no death there, but torture is the norm. Life is made of choices. Jesus said this is how violent people who beat their wives are treated. There were also women who attacks their husbands in this place. I saw a woman in this part of hell. This lady injure and spill blood from his husband, and they do it to each other aggressively. And on the day of her wedding I saw the woman with dyed hair, carefully cut, but there in hell she was lifted by the enemy's hands 15 meters high and was thrown with a great force to the ground with great momentum. That woman's hair really got dirty. The head was crushed because it is with a lot of violence that she fell to the ground, but she still came back to her senses, and the torture continued. My brothers, suddenly, the Lord said they are treated in hell this way because that's how they behaved on earth. I saw the torment of those who use sexual object to masturbate, those who are in illicit sex, the practice of oral sex. Terrible punishment was inflicted on them. It was barbaric atrocities. I started to despair in this situation. God told me, you need to hold on a little longer, you need to see more. Suddenly God showed me a black throne on a black rock. It's like a black emerald throne, and the devil was sitting there in the position of authority. He was a giant and changed his shape in many ways. He was sitting as if facing a 3D screen, and the creature changes shape several times. What caught my attention is that there were 7 people chained to their necks with a black chain measuring 3 meters long, and these people had their heads pressed against this black rock. These people were naked and ragged. They had deep look, not understanding anything. I said, my God, who are these 7 young people? The Lord said, these people here are Satan's favorites. I said, what do you mean, Lord? He said, these are children of shepherds, knowledgeable about truth. These are also singers who knew the truth but who desecrated my altar and perform a sexual act without worrying, for the pastor wouldn't know. Given that I am the greatest pastor, and my brothers, God showed me a pastor, who hasn't died yet, but he was a conservative pastor of doctrine and God worked miracles with him. I don't know if it's worth talking about, but he was the son-in-law of the missionary David Miranda. I will give a hint and you will recognize him, and his first name is the letter S and the surname is also the letter S. I saw the pastor being tied by demon on arm, the neck, leg. The devil came with heated iron to torture him. He looked at him in the eyes and said, you were looking for us on earth to torture us. You wanted to destroy us on earth. Since you are here, this is what I will do with you here. You are looking for us on the land. You will see what we will do to you because of what you do to us on earth. He always called fire on demon to consume them and prayed God to burn the devil on earth. But that man was tortured, and it lasts forever and ever. The person is not yet an overcomer. My brothers, God showed me a pastor that said things that were abominable before God. He was forced to blaspheme against God. Whenever he stopped, he was tortured. He couldn't stand it, and when he was forced to talk until he was tired of talking blaspheme against God, When he was tired and could not talk, lightning bolt from the sky strike over this man's head. What you have done on earth is pay in hell. Whenever he stopped blaspheming, the torture continued. He would be tortured that way because this is what he did on earth and it is paid for. As this experience continued there, my brothers, it was terrible. I started to realizing the feeling of being there is what scares people. The environment scares you. It's a heavy fear, a terrible fear that only someone who has attempted suicide knows. The place makes you want to kill yourself. I will talk separately. When God took me to heaven, there were angels of various ways, angels that had white light, angels that had a reflection of gold, and angels that was like flashes of light, like torches of fire. There was one when you get close to him you feel he had a terrible authority, like when you stand before the company's superior you feared can feel you at any time. The brothers can understand. I saw the angels sing and played ancient instruments, those instruments mentioned in the book of Psalms. I saw a range instrument. Something caught my attention. The way they played music, it's like despite the distance in heaven you hear the celestial melody as if you were closed. If something is playing in your city square, the further away you go you will hear the lowest sound. In the eternal kingdom of light it's different. You could be far away from the throne, the sound of praise is still the same whether standing near or far away, you hear it perfectly. It's an extraordinary thing. The angels flew around God, and there were angels who were not allowed to be very close to God. Yes, the Lord Jesus deal with archangels, and archangels deal with angels under their leadership. I said, God, let me stay here in your kingdom. At that point in time I was engaged. I was fiancé to my wife. She meant a lot to me. I wanted to get married and have children, for we had a promising future in the work. But there in the radiant kingdom of God, brother, I didn't want it anymore. I wasn't worried about those things. I just wanted to be there with Jesus, because we feel like a child there in heaven. You want to run, you want to jump, you want to cling to Jesus just like a 3-year-old wants to cling to his father. I want to be with him, and there I was with God in chief. I said, Lord, let me stay here. There are vessels of God, prophets you are using that can replace me. Jesus responded, you have to report what you have seen. The world needs to know what you saw. And suddenly Jesus showed me the churches on earth and said there are more women and few men in these local churches, but in paradise there are more men and few women. I felt sad and hurt. My Lord, but why is that? He answers me, it's because of vanity. Vanity has corrupted many women. My son, vanity has corrupted many women, many preachers, many missionaries, and many people who have positions. Important women in churches are not important in heaven because of adultery, sensuality and vanity. These women won't be in this golden kingdom because of their sensuality and vanity. Whoever look at a woman to lust after her has committed adultery in his heart with her. Modern women walk the streets and enters churches, but they are not simple, modest and spiritual. They are simply sensual, using clothes that show thighs, clothes that show their body. The kingdom is not interested in thighs and breast women are showing. Tell them once they say that they accepted me and want to follow me, it's because of refusal to strip themselves from vanity and modernity that most of them don't come here, and they are going down to the center of the earth. I saw the suffering of a woman because of cosmetics, a shampoo or conditioner. The demon started to spill it in her hair, saying, you are so vain, you care so much about your hair in detail, your eyebrows, your eyes, pencils, your nails. But all this is a sin, and he started tearing out her hair with piece of meat from the head. He starts to tear everything out with great fury. My brothers, that hurt me, and suddenly she had little hair, her head was completely deformed, and she was crying with me, and as if that wasn't enough, the demon took the rest of eyebrows because she shaves with waxing, plucking the eyebrows and the skin turns red, plucking out the eyelashes in the eye area. He ripped off her lips because she put on lipstick, disfigured her face with his pointy nail because she wore makeup, and that way she also ripped off her toenails and fingernails because nail that was painted. The reasons is that she was taught in churches 1 Peter 3 verse 3, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braided hair, gold jewelry, or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. 1 Timothy 2 verse 9. But she did not obey. In hell there were a section for children, When I saw them I said, "Don't believe, for my Lord taught me children are worthy of the kingdom of heaven." He said, "Yes, my servant, and if a father jumps into a mud he will get dirty from that mud where he stuck." I said, "Perfectly, and if he play with his son in the mud they will be both soiled from the same mud." The Lord said, "As soon as children already know good from evil, if they already have the knowledge and ability to discern good and evil, right and wrong, they are no longer innocent. And that's enough for them to commit to salvation, decide whether to be saved or decide whether they will be lost and be easy prey of Satan. And woe to the people who allow children to watch evil cartoons that don't bring my doctrine but rather bring controversy. We watch our children doing sensually kiss on the mouth from an early age, being taught to be homosexual or lesbian. They are given sexual option, and if you were born a man, feel you are almost a woman, you have a choice and option. My brothers, I saw in this place a teenager that was 12 years old, and I saw several youngsters crying, "Where is my mother?" calling their parent. The black shadow took one of them on the ground and was suddenly pulling this child's feet and dragging into ground. I said, "What, Lord, what has he done to be here?" The Lord said, "It's because he rebelled against his parents. Before that, he played them being believer, he fought at school, disobeyed his parents, messed up at church and was not worried about anything other than living without shame. And he thought that I would understand, that I would still protect him because he is the son of believing parents.